All right, welcome in everyone. We're back for another episode of the Coach's Corner. Tonight, all the way from Eastern Arizona, we have Coach Cameron Turner, who joins us with his team as uniquely of a mascot. Go ahead and share with the monsters. It's not with Jordan in there, but let's talk about the monsters.
Yeah, we're the Gila monster, so it's pretty unique. Not many people are a poisonous lizard. So
We were talking just a few minutes ago, and your experiences have gone from men's and women's basketball, two completely different climates. Prior to you coming to Arizona, you said you were up in Alaska, at Alaska Anchorage. Can you tell us a little bit about what that experience was like?
yeah, so I'm originally from Portland, Oregon. I was a high school teacher coach down there, and then I got an opportunity to go to Alaska. That's very unique. It's kind of like its own country up there because you are far away. It's cold, but it's not as cold as what everybody thinks. Um, and it's unique. You're your own thing up there. So I was opportunity to be an assistant for 7 years at Alaska Anchorage. So it's the largest university up there. So you're big dog up there. You're it's like a Division 1. They do play Division 2, but they got a 5,000 seat arena up there. Your all games are on TV. It doesn't exist now, but they had a Division 1 tournament called the Great Alaska Shootout. So it was the original holiday tournament over Thanksgiving, before the Maui, before all these going to the Bahamas. That
Mhm.
was the tournament, was to go to the Great Alaska Shootout.
Yeah, I remember watching that so many times as a kid. So that was very intriguing to me. But let's hop right back into to where you're at now, and what's kind of the identity of your program as you go out looking for players. What would you say that it is?
I want players that are very authentic. Be who you are. I look for that. Guys that are super unselfish, and they want to win for something bigger than themselves. Being junior college, it is innately selfish because everybody wants to move on and get scholarships. That is part of it. But I want guys that want to pursue memories. They want to win. So I try to find that. I try to vet that through my process and ask the kids a lot of questions on like what matters to them, what do they value. So I am not for everybody, but that's okay because there's enough people out there.
You just hit the tagline for our show. Uh, we're not for everybody, and like you say, that's okay. We started off in a gym on the east side of San Antonio with John J.C. Collins, and he's an ornery old man for a trainer, and he's not, and we enjoyed it because the guys and girls that we produced, they went on and became successful in college. Those that left, you know, didn't. I'm not gonna say it didn't matter, but we didn't follow them as well. But let's talk about this. What's one tradition that out there in Eastern Arizona? There's got to be something as unique as that area is.
Well, we're the true old west out here, kind of like how San Antonio is. So we're not kind of similar in that way. Is that they still people are real prideful of their cowboy hats and their guns, and so anytime that anyone's at the free throw line, they still say the guns are up. So, um, and the big thing is the fans. They try to like do like what they do at the University of Arizona. They try to stand up till the first bucket is made. So.
Oh wow, that's neat. Yeah. What what do you think the first thing people will notice when they walk into the gym? Like, it's very unique markings that I've seen on in pictures and stuff.
Um, well, that we're in, like we get a crowd. We average, close to 1,000 per game. Our gym isn't crazy big, but we'll pack it out. So we get a true like college atmosphere. If the gym's old, it's from the early '60s, so the student section's right on top of you. It's right on the
Mhm.
court. So the refs are constantly telling them to back up because you're right on the court. And a lot of gyms don't have that opportunity, and especially junior college. Like, we matter to our community here, so like people come to the games. So that's fun.
Mhm.
It's a fun environment to be part of and to play in. So
You know,
that makes us unique for junior college.
I will say, I looked at your roster and you got you got a lot of size returning. Um, how to, I don't know. That's just a dumb question, but you know, is that something you expected? Like, the guys move off pretty quickly, or? 'Cause I've seen your program around for a while.
Yeah, well, I recruit size because of my background. I was fortunate when I was just starting out. I coached in Oregon, and I coached a program that had Kevin Love, so that
Oh,
helps. And learned
yeah.
to work with that high level player. And I was an assistant on a high school team, and we had two really good players. One you guys might not know from Texas. The name was Mustafa Hoff. Played at Oregon State. Played overseas a long time. He's a big guy. But then we had another one that played in the NBA with Chris Dudley.
Oh,
Played
wow.
for the New Jersey Nets and the Knicks and the Trailblazers. So he was an assistant. So I learned a lot from them about post development. And then I've kind of taken that from all the stops I've been at. So I've just had a long line of working with high level posts. Even when I was in Alaska, I worked with Taylor Rohde. They went to Oregon State. I mean, sorry, Arizona State, and then transferred to us. With the 2012 National Player of the Year for Division Two. Um, so I just had a long line of kids, and even here, um, so I recruit size and help develop them.
I
So
remember
I'm gonna
when
go after it.
yeah, and you've kind of alluded to, but you one of our first conversations, you mentioned that you kind of run your program as a 4 year school uh, mentality. You even said you offer when you're going to offer. You don't have time, not time, but you get right to the point. Is that something that you always been like, or
I've
is it?
always been that way. That's just who I am. I don't like to wait around to the end. I know a lot of junior colleges do that, and that's their way of doing it. That's fine, but I don't like. If I like a kid, I'm gonna offer them. So I'll start looking. Like, I've already looking at 26s right now. I went this summer that and watched AAU stuff. So I started identifying kids, and then I'll recruit them like just like same time frame as a Division 1 or Division 2 school. I don't wait to the end and just see what's left over. If I like a kid, I go after him, and you know we'll see what happens. Because I know that's just a thing in junior college. Oh, let's just wait to the end, see who slips through the cracks. That could be great. You get a talent, but it also means that those players could have some baggage. So I don't
Yeah.
like taking that risk. Um, I'm a family man. I don't want those types of kids around me or my kids. And then our community is not going to put up with yahoos.
Yeah. Um, you know, what made you choose a JUCO grind? I know that you discussed if you wanted to be around more family. Was that a conscious thing of going to junior college, or it just happened to be geographically?
A little bit of both. It just kind of. I love my time in Alaska. Absolutely love it. Um, if the job ever came open, I would look at it again. But I coached, AAU when I was a high school coach. I has also had my own club program, and I really got a lot of fulfillment of being part of the kids' journey to help them move on to the next level. And junior college is kind of the same thing. So you're recruiting kids in, and then you help develop them, and then you move them out. So I get a lot of fulfillment in being part of these kids' journey. So, and then while their time is here, I want them to, like I said earlier, pursue those memories and have their time that like they enjoy it here. So I'm always trying to do that. So, and going by what you said with the size, like, I had kids they could have left after 1 year, and I was okay with that but they chose to come back because of the experience that they had here at Eastern Arizona. Because we are a small town, so it does feel like a 4-year school. Because they live in the dorms, they have a meal plan. People are always engaging with them, so um, they're the big fish in a small pond. So they already get that 4-year feel here. So they wanted to run it back. They had fun.
Yeah, and that was probably when we talk about the size. I remember you got a 7 footer that returned, and I
Yeah.
remember thinking that, wow, man, he had a chance to leave, and decided to come back. So that made me more intrigued about your program right off the jump. Um, so we talked about early years. You had the opportunity to develop big men. Uh, was that more of your guiding philosophy, or was there mentors that kind of led you in that low post scenario?
Um, it's always been kind of my thing. Even when I had AU team, I always had big guys. I always enjoyed developing them, and I kind of have learned to win with them. And I know a lot of. I've just been lucky too that I've always had them. A
Yeah,
lot of coaches get that opportunity to have. You know, I think I got 2 7-footers. I got like 5 guys between 6'9" and 6'7", so it's kind of a lot. So,
yeah,
so that's not. I know that's not the norm. So, high
yeah,
school
but
coaches, you're pick of the litter. Whatever shows up, what shows up. I've just been lucky. So,
yeah. So how do you balance holding players accountable and keeping them motivated? Um, how would you say your stance is with that?
so the standard is the standard. This is I make it very clear, very blunt from right away. Like we just did a team retreat right the weekend, right, we just started school the other day, so right before, and we spell it out there. This is what our expectation is, and you got to come to the expectation of what they are. So there's no like wiggle room with that. They know what it is. And how I get there, if they're struggling whatnot, I try to mentor 'em. I try to give them a positive energy, and they will get there if you mentor them. I'm not always negative with them. Sometimes I will give tough love, but I'm also positive with them. So they'll get there. But if they, my big thing is you got to be a truth teller. If you're not a truth teller, you're out of there. So
Yeah,
and so, and that is the standard. So just to be transparent, we had a kid. He made a mistake over the weekend, and he wasn't truthful about it. So he went home. So it is what it is. So
yeah. Oh, I like that. I do. So, when you're evaluating a recruit, what's the first thing you look for that doesn't show up on the stat sheet?
how are they like communicating on the floor? So do they talk on the floor? And then next is like, do they give like energy, like their effort level? Like are they sprinting back on transition defense? Or they got their hands up on defense? Are they going to dive on the floor? Are they going to take a charge? Kids don't take charges anymore. You know, um,
Yeah,
those effort plays. So, and then I look for, are they a willing passer, you know, and that's, are they gonna like make the next play, or are they gonna take the contested shot? I try to weed that out. So, and then you can see when kids like losing hurts them. You can see when they're pissed. AAU, they play so many games, right? So, but if the kids still like every game they play, they're playing as like this is their last. Those are the kids I want. Not the well. I just got another game in 2 hours. No, I want they're gonna give everything you got in that moment, and whatever happens is gonna happen. So that effort is a big deal with me.
so how do you think that you've been so successful in spotting players who survive and thrive under your leadership?
Because I try to be very transparent with them through the recruiting process of who I am, and then I I got to have that connection with them. So I talk to them. I want them to know me, and I want to know them, and then you kind of feel a connection. And so it goes both ways, right? You got to have that connection. I don't try to always be just the salesman of like, oh yeah, we can get you recruited Division 1 or whatever. I don't. I try. I never promise that stuff. I just say, hey, we might. I'll give you the platform, and it's up to you to make what's of it. So I just try to build true relationships with each player, and that could be different. So I'm always doing that, and I try to do things with my team. So like I live close to the school because it's a small town. So like, hey, we'll have them over for dinner, or we'll do Thanksgiving over here, or watch the Super Bowl together. And then my wife, they're away from home, so she might make their favorite dessert for their birthday. Things like that, just to make them like this is piece of home. So,
Hmm.
and I try to always touch base with you guys every day, even if it's 1 or 2 minutes. Hey, how are you doing? How was that math class? Hey, how's your mom back home? I try to make a lot of personal relationships with my guys. And that also lends to this generation. You can be hard on them because they know that you care off the court. You can't just be a dictator all the time. You know,
Yeah.
you got to be both. You got to be mom and dad. So
Yeah. So, what skill do you find that you have to refine the most when a high school kid comes on campus?
they never play off 2 feet in the paint. So we're in process
That's
now.
nice.
They get in, then they want to float around, but college basketball is such more physical game. So you got to be able to play off two to take those hits and be able to finish through contact.
Yeah. It really um, when Villanova had their back-to-back time championships, that really became really prevalent again. And then I think it's kind of diminished, with Jay Wright and all being stepping away from the game. What's your approach to getting a team ready for a must-win game?
I treat every game exactly the same. So a team that's 0-20 or a team that's 20-0, we treat them exactly the same because I don't want them to. They're kids, right? They're gonna know they're naturally gonna be high for those big games. So in that essence, if I'm the same, then that actually keeps them calmer. So
That's
I
true.
try to treat every game exactly the same. It's not always the same. I try to be the same, but
Mhm.
the kids are not always the same. So I gotta
Yeah.
like be the medium. That's my goal. So,
So, curious, in your game planning, are you more of a I'm going to take this approach into the game, or do you make more adjustments at halftime or happy
well,
medium?
we have a game plan going in, so we'll watch as much film as we humanly can. My assistant and I on a particular team of what we know, what we can like expose of their defense. Um, you know, so we'll take that approach. But we always got some cards in our back pocket if our game plan didn't work, right? So I'm not a guy that won't adjust. I'll adjust 4 times, 5 times, I don't know, whatever it takes to win the game, right? So we have different things we do. I'm not living die. This is just the way we play. No, we have a base, but I'll bend it if I got to.
Well, it leads you right into my next question. What's one strategy that you've used against opponents that didn't see coming?
Say that one more time.
Like, what was your best adjustment that in a game that the opponent didn't see coming?
Uh, play zone because I play 99% man. So that because I just don't typically play zone,
I hate.
or I'm prepared. One thing my teams can shoot. I think we finished third or fourth in the country in 3-point percentage. We didn't take a bazillion of them. I think we averaged 20 attempts a game or something like that. So it's not like crazy high, but it's not low. But I try to take the right ones. So that's another thing is for kids is you got to be able to shoot the ball. Like
Yeah.
you're really easy to guard if you can't shoot. And if you can't shoot, you better be. NBA athlete. You got to be a
Mhm.
like freak of nature. So you got to be able to shoot. Eh, So
Talking about JUCO life and player pathways, what do you wish more parents understood about the JUCO route?
their your kid's journey is their journey. Don't do the compare game because you can get to the end game where they wanted if they wanted to do the Division One or they're going to try to play professionally. Um, where you start, it doesn't matter. It's where you end. So like junior college is a great route because you're gonna play most likely at the junior college level. So there's a lot of kids that yeah, they might be go to mid to low major and then they sit on the bench. A kid that maybe in high school wasn't just quite as good, they go junior college, they'll pass that kid up because they
Mhm.
played at a junior college. They got game reps. That's the thing that we can offer is game reps and then you keep progressing in your career. So then just sitting on the bench. So
Yeah,
yeah, maybe you got cool gear, but you know, but whatever.
yeah, being a JUCO product myself, I take great pride in that JUCO product piece, and that's always something I find interesting. Is that some parents, we want them to go sit on the bench somewhere instead of play. Uh, so within your program, how do you help players handle balancing academics and basketball?
Well, first starts so you got to make sure they get in the right classes that they're going to have success in. And I always put them in 15 credits. So, the minimum is 12. So they're going to be in 15 credits no matter what. And then a lot of junior college you might get to put them in a PE class here and there. So I'll even put them on top of the 15. Why is then they're academically going to be able to graduate. There's no worry at the end. They're
Mhm.
probably most likely not going to have to do summer school if they do 2 years of junior college. I want to have them academic success. And then we've already started. So it's been 3 days in study hall. So with study hall and we're kind of on them, you know, from the minute they get on campus, we're on them to show that their academics is a big deal. Because if you have great grades, it opens so many more doors.
Mhm.
Even junior college, so junior college is viewed differently now. So there's teams that normally wouldn't have recruited junior college. Now we're looking at them because everyone wants to stay older. So like I've been contacted by Stanford and Cornell and Dartmouth, like high academic schools. They're looking at different avenues now. So if you get good grades, so now you just maybe open a few doors that you didn't have before. So
Is that I'm just curious? Is that new? That like the Stanford and Cornell's um, with the portal and everything, or is this? I mean, I don't remember that happening before.
I think it is because everybody's getting paid now. So
Yeah.
maybe they could get a kid that just wants that opportunity to go to Cornell and they're
Hmm.
fine. They don't make any money because they know they're getting an Ivy League education. So maybe it's just a different avenue for both parties. So,
You know, can you share a story that kind of sums up what JUCO basketball is all about? If you have a particular player, or
well, JUCO basketball is it's a place for opportunity that might not have gotten before. So I had a player it's at UT Arlington, so not far from you from San Antonio. He's originally from Portland, Oregon, where I was from. He was a known name. He had a bad injury, did kind of like almost similar to what Paul George did. His leg like
oh,
snapped.
yeah,
All the recruits, all the schools went away. He was a loyal kid. He tried to come back probably a little too early to be honest and play his senior year and he was limping around. Though no schools now are around him because like, oh man, he's never going to be the same again. Well, I didn't think that. I thought he just needs more time to rehab and to get healthy 100%. So I was the last man standing and so he committed here. Yeah, he couldn't do the preseason stuff, but he was ready to go by our season, and he blossomed. Had a really good freshman year. Had an excellent sophomore year with me. Was an All American and got was one of the top junior college players in the country. And he chose UT Arlington, and he's one of their better players now. And that's Rayshawn Seamster is his name. Um, but if he didn't have junior college, he might have not played basketball because literally no one, everyone does crossed him off the list because of some random injury. So,
Wow.
um, we gave him an avenue because, and he says it all the time. Hey, coach, thanks for believing in me because no one believed in him because they just wrote him off.
Yeah, that's a great story. I'm gonna look him up and try to get him on the show sometime.
You
But
should. He's a quiet kid. You should do that. He's a good
um,
player. He was one of the better players in the WAC last year, and he's kind of going to be the big dog now at Arlington this coming year.
yeah, I look forward to reaching out to him. So, how do you keep your own fire burning during a long season?
I'm super competitive, so um, but I try to balance. I try to have balance because I am a family man. That's one thing I like about junior college is like I get to come home at night and be with my wife and my kids, and I still get to take my kids to their soccer practices. Like I came home from work and I was doing third grade math with my little daughter. So I still have time to do those things. That helps me fill my cup to still be a coach. It's not just I'm only a coach. I still get to be a dad. I still get to be a husband. Um, things like that. And my family travels to a lot of our games because it's Arizona's big, but it's not that big, so they can come
Yeah,
to the games.
that's great, man. Kind of wrapping up here, but what's the best piece of advice that you try to give every player before they leave EAC?
Just give everything you got and be true to yourself was like know that you gave everything you had on that floor so you have no regrets. So don't like just give that effort. If you give that effort and you know in your heart the wins and losses they fade away, but that knowing in your heart that man I gave everything I got, then you can stand on it. You can have pride in that. So we've had a
Coach,
lot of success over the few years I've been the men's coach here, but um, honestly, I don't remember the scores of the game even now, but I remember the effort and the blood, sweat, and tears we went through as a team. That's what matters to us and to me.
yeah, hey man, you've been very, very gracious, very open, very honest, and I really appreciate your time you spent with us today, Coach Turner. And I hope the best for your team. And we will sure be following along.
Appreciate it anytime.